I can't see anything on my
No, we weren't.
on YouTube.
We'll have to start again, guys. Sorry. After all that.
Oh, here we go. We are on there, yeah?
Now we are, yeah, because I just...
Cool.
Evening all and welcome to episode 25 of the Sky Fantasy Podcast by Fantasy Football Hub. Apologies there for those who were listening in for a couple of minutes. We were talking to ourselves because the stream didn't kick off. But welcome all. It's great to have you all on. My name is Andrew. I'm joined as usual by two of the most successful Sky managers in the game. Firstly, Paul McAnulty. How was your holiday, Paul?
Yeah, it was great, thanks. And Ian did a fantastic job filling in for me last week for those that were listening.
He did. And do you want to tell everyone about your faux pas, about how you were dialed in a little bit early?
Yeah, I thought it was a 6 hour time difference, but there was only 5, so I was in an hour early and I was messaging you guys asking where the feed was.
We were having frantic texts off Paul saying the feed's not live, and we were stuck in having our tea. Anyway, we also have Sky winner Dan Cox with us. Dan, what are your thoughts on the weekend's action?
Yeah, pretty good weekend. Some big scores. Some people should have some big scores, shouldn't they, with Bruno and Kane, Son and all that. So, yeah, been an eventful weekend.
You know, and it was obvious that Werner would come good yesterday after holding on to him for 4 games, seeing him wide on the left wing, barely touching the ball, suddenly turns into the world-class striker.
We called it though, didn't we? We said if he plays up top,
we called it.
He'll get goals, and as soon as I see him starting up top, I thought, oh no, here we go. But you know, plenty of time to bring him in the future.
Exactly. Many congratulations, gents. We've managed to make it to a quarter of a century. Sky Podcast. It's our 25th episode. We haven't been kicked off the air yet, which is quite a good achievement considering we have Dan's rant as a feature every week. As we are live, please feel free to join in the chat at any time. Let us know your thoughts on the topics, not the relevant sections, and feel free to ask some questions for us to answer at the end. Good evening, everyone. Daniel, Ian Parent, Dean Miles, Martin Beasley, Peter Scolding, Jonathan Maloney, Lodders, Steve Derricourt, Michael In, Saif Ali, and Zvanimar Boban. Good evening, everyone. It's great to have you on. For any new watchers and listeners, if you haven't subscribed just yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, which seems we only kicked off this channel in January. It is brilliant. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. Remember to set the alert so you don't miss our live streams at 9 p.m. every Sunday evening right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content. And don't forget to download our new free app, which includes everything our website offers. Just search for Fantasy Football Hub from wherever you get your apps. Please could everyone on the stream press like now if you don't mind. That would be great. Thank you. So after a crazy overhaul period, including here that key man Kevin De Bruyne was going to be injured for a couple of weeks on Friday, all the plans changed, but now finally we can settle down and get on with the meat of the season. Tonight, Paul will share some stats. Dan will share some ownership stats. We will discuss VVD replacements. That is the talk of the podcast, I think. We'll answer some questions. We'll look ahead to Gameweek 7 and share our plans. We'll update our podcast team, which has had a decent weekend. There's been a goal in the 91st minute of the Leicester and Villa game.
It's for Villa.
And it is Ross Barkley in the 91st minute of the game. I don't know, I haven't got that yet. Busting all those Leicester clean sheets. I felt like...
Yeah, so we were talking about Castagna's ownership before we came on here as well.
I felt like I was on FPL Saturday Live for a moment then with the bringing the goal updates, 91st minute winner. We will look ahead to Game Week 7 and share our plans. We'll update our podcast team, give some mini league updates, and finish off with Dan's rant. So straight into it. Oh,
do you know, I've just found something out, right? I'm fuming for later. Mate, I'm so annoyed.
Save it.
Yeah, all right.
Pent up that way. Pent it up, mate. So straight into it. Paul, do you want to share with us your weekly stats?
Sure, yeah. So this is not obviously not including the live game just now. So this is up to and including the Tottenham West Ham game that just finished. So top of the bonus charts, the top 8 positions are held by Fabinho, Tom Kearney, Luke Ayling, Bruno Fernandes, Calvert-Lewin, Højbjerg, Dallas, and Gabriel. So I know a lot of them will be owned quite highly since the post-overhaul. Maybe not Fabinho. 8.4 probably seems a little bit expensive still. Tom Kearney was somebody I'd looked at before. He's picked up passing, tier 2 passing in every game that he's played thus far.
Wow.
And that includes Arsenal as well. But 7.7, Sky's priced him a little bit high. If he'd been lower than or around Højbjerg's price, I might have seen a bit more, or I might have picked him up a little bit more around that price. It just seems a little bit too expensive for me. The top 3 players for passes, so Højbjerg's now top of that. He's got 378 passes in 5 games. Gabriel's got his second, has only played 4 games out of the 5, 343.
Wow.
And then Michael Keane's third, 342 passes. Didn't pick up passing bonus yesterday, but rewarded those that stuck with him post-overhaul with a goal against Liverpool. 7.6 million. It's the price point that I always seem to get wrong, but I know people have still plumped for him post-overhaul, so congratulations on those that stuck with him. Most shots on target, Kane with 13, Calvert-Lewin with 12, Salah with 11, Neil Maupay with 10, another 2 today, and Son on 9. And then if we look at tackles, Mitchell, who retained his place even though Van Aanholt was back on the bench, 21 tackles, so 5.2. Can he keep Van Aanholt out of the team? Ayling second, playing a game less with 19. My boy Romeo third with 18, so he picked up tier 2 tackling again yesterday. Phillips from Leeds, probably not talked about as much as others, 7.1 million. He's got 17 tackles. Allen from Everton, Basham from Sheffield United, although their fixtures look pretty evil for the next period of time. And then Dallas with 16.
I think the next 3 for Sheffield United, are they Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea or something like that, I think, is it?
Yeah, Robinson, I know a few people pumped for Robertson, post-overhaul, 4.9 million, subbed on after 19 minutes today, gave away the penalty of handball. Obviously it wasn't converted, but lost his clean sheet points, but then got an assist for the penalty for Sheffield United later on, so 4 points, and it looks like he might be in the team now, 4.9 million. And then the only other thing of note today was Fulham's new signing. So it's Adara Bioyo from Man City, 5.2 million. He had 53 successful passes and 1 tackle, 5.2 million.
Good spotting, Paul. Excellent. Zvonimir had back. So hang on, just say some results. So Leicester 0, Villa 1. So anyone who had Martinez in goals, I believe he got tier 2 saves, on for a bit of a haul there potentially. That sounds like 12 points, I think, for Martinez. That's excluding man of the match. If he, I don't know if Barkley might get by the sound of it. And McGinn got the assist for that Barkley goal by the sound of it. Oh, Peter G, watching Villa on a 2-min delay. You just ruined it for me. Sorry, Peter. Apologies for that. Stephen Coulthard has got McGinn as
he paid £15 for that as well, and you just ruined it.
Oh my goodness. Apologies, Peter. Well, if you've got IPTV, you're breaking the law anyway, but apologies if you just paid 15 quid and we've ruined that for you. Stephen Coulthard had McGinn as captain. Owen Jones, evening lads, give you a thumbs up before I even start now. Go-to place on a Sunday night. It's nice to know, Owen, that us 3 gents can make you feel like that on a Sunday evening. Liam Dorrian, Sky Champion, John Maloney, Reese, Wilson Win, and Martin Beasley has got Martinez in goals. A nice 12-pointer. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a fair few 100 pointers with still a game to go. No, actually, with still 2 games to go tomorrow evening, I think. Is that right? So
Yeah,
100.
tomorrow.
I think there's definitely going to be a few 100-pointers with a few Kane captains and things like that. So good stuff there. Okay, on to ownership stats. Dan, do you have any ownership stats for us?
Yes. My mate Fat Frank, I call him FF Stuff on Twitter. He's like computer genius.
Yeah,
He's been because if you go on the Sky app, never can work out what they do because they do a top 5 transferred in and out and top 5 captains, but it never looks right. I think they do it daily or as a mess anyway. But he's made a thing basically which can go back a day, 2 days, 3 days, go back 7 days. So he tracked it from the 11th of October. So I'll just give the top 5s ins and out. This is all off his site. Check it out. He's really, that's amazing stuff.
ffstuff.com or .co.uk, Dan, do you know?
ffstuff.co.uk, I think.
Superb.
I'll put it out on my Twitter later. Well, I have retweeted him a few of his graphs and stuff, so I'll put it out there later. But the most transferred out player this week, unsurprisingly, is De Bruyne out of 75,000 teams, which was 18%. Aubameyang was second out of 22,000 teams, 5.62%. Soyuncu, he was out of 20,000 teams. Vardy was out of 17,000 teams, and Willian was out of 9,000 teams, which he was in a lot of teams at the start. So that's crazy. That's the outs. The ins, the most transferred in player since the 11th of October. Do you want to have a guess? Or there's so many options in there. Could be anyone. I'll just tell you. Grealish, 28,000 teams. 28,000 teams, 7%. James Rodriguez, 25,000 teams. Kane, 22. Son, 21. And Bruno, 16,000 teams. So that's the most in and out, during the overhaul. And then I'll give you the top 11 quickly owned players. Overall, this is not top 1,000. Salah's the most owned. This is of this morning, 37%. Bruno, 35%. De Bruyne, 34% still. That's I was surprised when you think he's been taken out of 75,000 teams and he's still he was on a good, I think he was on about 52% ownership on Friday. So that graph I don't know if I tweeted out actually, but I will. FF Stuff done the graph and you De Bruyne all week was sort of this, then it's like bosh, just gone. And that would happen in the overhaul in a normal week. But considering, to still be the third highest owned player, if he's not back this Saturday, that's, it's a lot of people missing out on points. James, 32%, fourth. Grealish, 32%. This is surprising. Trent, 29%. He's done nothing all season, has he? Done nothing.
He hasn't even looked good either, has he? It's not like he's been, unfortunate or anything, really, is it? So.
He ain't been getting the passing or the attacking returns. Or, he's just.
It's all going through Robertson now, isn't it?
And Robertson's not even in the top 11. Van Dijk this morning still in 28% of teams. I thought that might have been I have Van Dijk, but I thought he would have been taken out more straight away. But maybe they're doing what I'm doing and having to think about it and then do something the weekend coming. But it looks like he's out, doesn't it? So him, Kane in 28%, Aubameyang 27%, which I think is quite surprising because he's not needed for any captaincy and the games aren't great. Calvert-Lewin 25% and Vardy on 18%, and he weren't even in the squad today, was he?
No, he wasn't. Just quickly with Everton, do we think that Calvert-Lewin and James Rodriguez's output will be as it has been with Richarlison now? Because obviously they play, with a very, Richarlison creates a lot of space on the left-hand side. He's very quick, makes a lot of runs. James looks him out all the time as well. Do we think that that's going to have a kind of impact on their output at all?
Possibly. I don't know who'll come in. It will be, maybe.
It will be, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because it'll probably not be Sigurdsson if Rodriguez is playing, I would have thought. Yeah. I didn't go any Everton on the overhaul team. I just didn't like the home fixtures particularly. I think was the main reason. I
think as well, when it's easy in hindsight, right? But Højbjerg today, he didn't do much. He hit tier 1 passing, was close off tier 2. Yet he scored the same points as Rodriguez scored yesterday. Got an assist and had a good game. I just think I know that James will, he will get assists. He will get the odd goal. He will get the odd man of the match. But someone like Højbjerg, and And there's many others as well in there, who will get this regular bonus. You talked about Romeo there, Calvin Phillips, Stuart Dallas. We've talked about maybe Diaz at Man City. Looks like he could be a good one as well. There's a fine balance in that between the bonus magnets and the kind of attacking return machines in there.
If I was going either of them, I probably would have went Calvert-Lewin. He seems to be hitting shots bonus on a regular basis. I think he's got in every game, actually. He's got 12 bonus points from 5 games.
The Gaming Idiot on 121 points with Sice still to play. Lovely score there. Wilson win and 116 points with Monday's game still to go. Bill him up and just razz him. 92 with 4 to go on Monday. Dropped down to 700 overall rank, so hoping for a jump today. Nice rank, a top 1,000 rank so early is very, very good. Evening FPL Badger and even everyone else. Just a point. We had a question earlier on Twitter, I think. Antonio went off earlier with a tight hamstring apparently. Now it is a tight hamstring. Not. He should be okay, you'd guess. He's obviously really, he's really important to the way that West Ham play. Have you guys got any thoughts on Antonio? You're just gonna leave him, and even if he's not in next weekend, just leave him in. I think that's gonna be my plan. Dan, what do you think? Oh, sorry.
I'll wait till if we hear any news during the week. I won't be in a rush to do anything. I debated not having him because they have got 3 terrible games, haven't they? Like, what was it? Tottenham, Man City, then Liverpool. So not the best games. So I debated not having him, but because his ownership was pretty high, I had him in. But I'll probably just leave him in, to be honest. And
he'll come good. I think the last thing you want to do is take him out for a couple of hard games for someone else, and then he comes back, he scores a couple of goals, in his first easier game in game week 9, whatever it is, and then you're having to scrabble to get him back, waste a couple of transfers. I just think, you picked Antonio probably for the long term, not for the short term. So if that was your thoughts on Antonio, then I would, I think we're all saying to probably leave him in, to be fair.
Yeah.
Dan, on your ownership stats, what to you and Fergie, what do you think that the percentage of players are still active in the game, or teams? What percentage of teams are still active?
Percentage of teams. So there's 400,000 teams, yeah.
Because with the De Bruyne, I appreciate people will have put De Bruyne in their overhaul team just because they don't want to waste a transfer to bring him back in. Totally understand that, but there will be an element of that of dead teams that didn't have a great start and obviously have stopped actively managing.
Do you think everyone would have took him out active?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a case that 67% or what, I can't remember what percentage he was owned. Was it 30?
So 75,000 teams that took him out. So do you know what I mean? You're saying at least a quarter is active and on it and done that. So I don't know.
I think probably. Really. This is a complete guess, but I reckon after 3 quarters are probably still active. I guess it's really early, right? It's only 4 weeks in. Probably a lot of players who haven't played before maybe wouldn't have known it's an overhaul. Maybe some will even care it's an overhaul. Excuse me. I'm in work leagues with FPL playing with people who haven't, who've played for years and they still have no idea what the chips are, how to use them, when to use them. They just do whatever they want. So I think that there's probably a fair chunk of active teams. I guess. We just had a couple of questions on Pulisic, Michael N, and there was another one. I've lost it. Sam Cole asking if we think Pulisic will come good. Paul, what are your thoughts on Pulisic after watching him yesterday?
Yeah, I think he'll come good. I didn't start with him I didn't know if he would start yesterday's game, then away to Man United next week. So I felt I'd give it a few weeks before I am up. I'm always cautious about getting players back after what I think you could class this as a long-term injury now, right? Because he's been out for 2 or 3 months and he's missed the start of the season and then the last. So I'm always cautious about bringing someone in straight after a long or medium-term injury.
I think you've got to remember that your plan as well, guys, is that again this overhaul period of 2 weeks now. You haven't brought in a player for a week or two, right? You should have. If you're listening the advice of Paul and Dan, you should have brought in your players at least with a view for having the next this weekend and another 2 weekends worth of action, because we know the fixtures, we got the captaincies all covered. Like honestly, it's easy to rifle through your transfers, but honestly, there is no need, because those transfers later down the line will be incredibly, incredibly precious. And taking Pulisic out the one game, I think it will come back to burn you, because he should prove to be one of the best value players in the game. Come the end of the season, I'd say. So, advice is chill out and don't worry about it. He will come good. You picked him for a reason and not just for one game. So our main topic on tonight's podcast is around Virgil van Dijk replacements. So we had some questions off Tom Hartnell. Thank you, Tom. Simply asks what to do with VVD at FPL Job Bennett 66. VVD replacement. He's playing 3-4-3. Who's the best option out of Robertson, Keane, Chilwell, Diaz or Ayling? He already has Dallas and Lamptey. Lee Williams, VVD solution, thinking City defender, as don't fancy Liverpool without Alisson or VVD. And David Baxter, now that VVD is out, is Robertson less appealing as his replacement from the point of view of clean sheets and also passing, as most passes were between the two of them? That's actually a really good point there, David, obviously, because Van Dijk sat on the left of the two and they used to knock it back to each other. So I think probably with this one we should come to Dan, because Dan has Van Dijk in his team. So Dan, can you share your thoughts on what you're planning to do with the big man?
So he's definitely coming out. It depends on formation. I looked at it because I've got enough money I could get Aguero in, and I was even saying to Paul, Aguero's back. I'll just whip Aguero in for Van Dijk on Saturday if he started. Brilliant. Then I'm I've already got 3 strikers, and I'm like bugger. So yeah, I'm on the 3-4-3. That is so hard. That is really hard. I will take all week to think about it. Depends if we then hear Antonio's injured. I mainly think I need to use it to my advantage. I won't just put someone in panic and then think, right, if Antonio's injured or I don't fancy him, I'll make a double move and I'll move the money about from defence. I could stick someone cheaper in. If you could have made a move today, you could have gone for Konsa, or I could make a move tomorrow. If only Wolves was the early kickoff, and I could see who's going to play left wing back, whatever it's going to be, Marcel or that other guy out, Nori or whatever. If it's going to be, if I could see one of them, I might make that move, save the money, and then I could upgrade, Antonio to, I don't know, Pulisic, something like that. But I honestly don't know. There's so many options. And also, I'm kind of hoping that during the week we might get some more fixtures. Yeah, I've seen nothing to suggest we will, but I'm going to use it to cover a captaincy or use it to my advantage. So it sounds weird, but I'm kind of happier having Van Dijk than I am having if I'd had Robertson, because I'd be now thinking, well, Robertson, might not get past and not going to be as solid, whereas at least I can just get rid of Van Dijk and use the money elsewhere. So I'm looking at the positives from it, but I ain't got a clue what I'm going to do yet.
It forces your hand a bit, I suppose, doesn't it? So, so just to confirm, I think Liverpool confirmed a few hours ago that VVD will likely be out for the season. You have an operation, massive recuperation period, he's going to be out for the season, or at least a majority of the season. So if you do own him, you want to get rid. Couple of recommendations. So Zvonimir says, I would get Fofana from Leicester and bank the money, 6.1 unbelievable values. I didn't watch the game this evening because we were obviously preparing for this, but did see it. A few superlatives on Twitter saying that Fofana had a really good game. I'm not sure if he's on for any bonus or anything, but he could be one to look out for. And Mark Daniel says I might go VVD to Telles. I think that's probably a bit of a brave one, in all honesty, since United, I know they won yesterday, but again, they were a bit unconvincing. You'll certainly have a differential, Mark. Anyway, I did like some of FPL Job's suggestions. He says Robertson, Keane. Obviously, Keane got the goal again yesterday. Has been good for bonus. I know Liam, last year's champ, was quite sweet on him as well at the start of the season. Chilwell looks really good. Good for an odd assist. An odd an odd attacking return. I'm not sure he's going to get many bonus points, and Chelsea struggle to keep clean sheets. I think that's the only thing.
He got passing yesterday.
He did yesterday. Ignore me with that one then.
For Fana, I got 3 tackles today, so
okay.
He didn't get bonus, but he was fairly close.
Okay.
Sorry, mate. Did you say Chilwell?
Yes.
I still saw something on Twitter, so it's obviously reliable. Bear with me.
Obviously.
That was saying, so since this is from Sky Sports, it's got to be all right. Since Frank Lampard took over Chelsea, only Southampton, Villa, West Ham and Brighton have conceded more goals for the current Premier League teams. So, worrying, isn't it?
It is.
And when Ziyech came on, he started hogging the set pieces. And I know Chilwell, part of the appeal of Chilwell was that he was on corners.
I'm sure he'll be decent, but I'm not sure he's as decent as we maybe think he is, because output has been exaggerated with a lack of Ziyech. Diaz, I thought, looked really nice yesterday. So is he not? I want to say 9.3,
9.1,
9.1, whatever he is, early 9s. I think he's a really good option. Paul, what do you think on Diaz?
Yeah, out of that list, Diaz would have been the one that the standout, unless you were downgrading to the Leeds defender. I assume they own Dallas already, so Ayling, but he's good for bonus, but our lead's good for clean sheets. So it depends. If you needed the money for an upgrade elsewhere, Ayling's decent. If you didn't, then Diaz would be the one I'd go for.
Cool. And Ayling, as I know, he's mentioned, he's already got Dallas and Lamptey. So I think probably Diaz is, I think, one of the better options there. What about the point on Robertson? Do you think now that people with Robertson, so I think myself and you, Paul, have both got Robertson. My initial thoughts, just leave him, in all honesty. He got attacking returns again yesterday. Their next 2 especially, they're both home to Sheffield United and West Ham. I think West Ham, they got really, decent games. He was really good last year. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, and the beauty of the Liverpool games is that they're both on Saturdays, the next 2 Saturdays. So I'll stick with Robertson. I think Robertson's now one of those I wouldn't get if I didn't have, but I wouldn't get rid if I do have. Albeit the 2 home games, you could still pick up passing, tackles, attacking, returns, clean sheets. And then Saturday the 31st, moving into Sunday the 1st, depending on your formation, there's a lot of options there. If you didn't have 3 up front, you could get Son in, around about the same price. You could get Gabriel in from Arsenal. There's loads of options that you could move on to.
Okay, and and obviously another option, expensive option around that bracket is De Bruyne as well. So you can if you have got VVD or Robertson, you could potentially make a couple of changes. So when you're thinking of getting De Bruyne back, I think we're hearing he probably won't be back next weekend, but potentially the weekend after. You could have a look. I would just say personally, I don't think there's any rush on Robertson at all. His next fixtures are nice. As long as you've got the captaincies planned in for the next few weeks, which you should have, if you've been listening to us at all. Owen Johnson just asked a really good question. He asked, should we wait for the November TV listings before taking out VVD? I think my answer to that is we probably should get the TV listings, if not this week, then obviously definitely next week. I would say that if you've got your captaincy sorted for next weekend, which you should have, I potentially think it's worth waiting personally, or go into Diaz on Saturday if he starts for Man City. They would be my kind of recommendations. Liam Dorrian, last year's champ, a bit of a statement here. Diaz was the first player in my drafts and the only player never to leave it. And Glenn Murray says Diaz, last week he was one to watch apparently. You're right, Glenn, and I think we watched him for a match. I think it's guaranteed he's going to be Laporte's partner. When Laporte is back again, you can see him smashing the bonus points. He's still probably one to watch, I would say, but I think with VVD out, can't really see much of a better option at that price point unless you're going really, really low. So, anything else, guys, on VVD replacements? Bruno potentially. We haven't mentioned
if you
Bruno.
Depends what your formation is, isn't it? But yeah, if you've not got Bruno, or and I say if De Bruyne is in the starting lineup Saturday, which we don't think, that could be another one. But I think most people I've seen are sort of stuck in with 3 defenders anyway, so it's got to be another defender.
Yep. Michael N says Ben White got tackles today and he won't be far off passing tiers 2. And he also says Laporte straight swap, but Diaz put some money in the bank. Dan and Tom Hartnell, I'll do what the champ says. Good advice there, Tom. Okay, so on to some questions we've had in from the community on Twitter. Thank you so much, everyone. At SkyFF_Hornet asks, do you see a move for a City player for the Sheffield United game, Jimenez to Aguero? Paul, can I ask you this one first?
That's what I've got penciled in.
Really? You're going in on Aguero early?
Well, no, sorry, I thought it was KD.
No, Aguero.
Aguero, apologies. I had penciled in Jimenez and banked money to do Jimenez to De Bruyne, which I can do Aguero as well. So it'll be one of the two, provided nothing else changes in that time period.
Yeah, I think De Bruyne is going to be the better option. I would think. Aguero, he didn't look. I don't think he had a shot yesterday. I want to say definitely. I don't think he had a shot on target. It's going to take a while to get going. Personally, I'm not sure I'd go with him yet. Dan,
you'll get him.
Oh, sorry, Paul. Go on.
Sorry, you'll get some of the European games as well. So I guess you'll be able to have a look at his fitness and stuff, because there'll be 2 European games before that game, and I know Jesus is out for months.
A while, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So either or, play it by ear, and we'll see because you'll see the lineup, the Man City lineup against Sheffield United that day.
I think Sterling will be a better option than Aguero, personally. I think even with Aguero on the team, Sterling's a great player. I saw a stat yesterday during the game. He's got the most attacking returns in the last calendar year or last whatever it is, out of everyone. And
never injured, eh?
No, he's good in terms. The only thing with him is he does tend to miss the really, really easy odd home game. I remember he missed a couple. I want to say Huddersfield a couple of seasons ago, and he missed another one last year when Bernardo Silva, was it last year or the season before, he took his place on that left-hand side and scored a hat-trick. That was one of the most frustrating days ever, because Sterling would obviously been there on that side. But I think Sterling's a better option personally, although De Bruyne is always the number one option there. Paul, can I ask you a bit obvious, but with Werner seemingly playing up front now with creative support, is he now again a must-have? I know Paul hates the term must-have or essential, but what do you think?
Well, no, he's not a must-have. But I get this. This is something else we had a quick chat about before we came on here. Like my strike force just now, Salah, Kane, and Jimenez, and you could almost see in 5 or 6 weeks' time the forward line of Werner, Aguero, and Calvert-Lewin being equally as good, depending on the fixtures. So I wouldn't say he's a must-have. Obviously, he's a great option, and congratulations to those that had more patience than what we've had with Werner. But he's not a must-have. But they have got nice fixtures coming up, particularly after Man United. So I can't remember what on the third game day, what day of the week that they play on. In fact, yeah. So on that Man City away to Sheffield United day, Werner's away to Burnley. Could be, instead of going for the Man City option, if Chelsea is required for a captaincy afterwards, Jimenez to Werner could be a good move for those that are carrying Jimenez as well.
I'd probably wait for the fixtures as well. Mentioned it a couple of times already, is that we've got all the fixtures covered at the moment for the next 2 weeks. You don't need Werner for captain. Obviously, if you had him yesterday for captain ahead of Salah and ahead of Bruno, very well done, and keep him in. But, we've got the captaincies covered for the next 2 weeks anyway. So I'd wait for the fixtures, and then you'll be able to see if you need Chelsea on any kind of single game day or specific game day. It gives, it'll give you the time to put him in as well, rather than just put him in for someone else, who's playing well. Because if you think of the strikers who are, who are on offer at the moment, so Salah scored yesterday. Kane on fire today. Son scored points. Calvert-Lewin scored points. They're all scoring points. Who would you take out? I would just be a bit careful of hopping around. Thoughts on Mahrez? There's a couple of questions about Mahrez. Dan, can I ask you your thoughts on Mahrez?
I know he does do all right. He's one of the ones, if you just had to stick him in and just accept he's not going to start every week, but he probably will get you some good points over the season. But I think it'd be one of them ones that frustrates him more often than not because he wouldn't be starting. And I just don't know. I hadn't had him in the team for years, probably since when he left Leicester. But I know he does do it. Like if you'd have checked last season points, he was one of the top midfield, point scorers. But he's just not nailed to start every week, is he?
I think there's a lot of other options at that price as well at the moment, in there.
9.9 is he?
He's expensive. If you think of all those options around that price, both in in defence, midfield, and attack. Actually, there's some, Son's just a tiny bit more. We've all mentioned players like James and Diaz and all these players as well. Paul, question off Joe Wilson. I have an aim to have 33 to 35 transfers left by Boxing Day. Do you think this is a good target? And also, how many transfers would you recommend to have have for the last 5 games? 5 game weeks. So
Ian Parham was on last week, and he was saying that his plan was to have 35. I think it's ambitious. So if that's your target, brilliant. That would be obviously very good at Boxing Day. I think if you had over 30 at Boxing Day, you're going great, I think. I think injuries and COVID-related problems is going to come up at some point, and there will be always at the start of the season. There's not any 3-for-1s as such, unless it's an injured player or a suspended player, or as I say, like what COVID will bring. But when we start getting around about that time of year, I think there'll be bigger opportunities, even leading up into December as well. So I can see experienced managers utilising transfers in those scenarios. So I think 30 is a good target. If I've got somewhere 32ish, 33, I'd be really happy with that.
Most of the top 100 are under 30 transfers already, aren't they? On the average transfers.
Yes, that's why we're not really looking at the 1K ownership just now.
Yeah,
there will be some players that have used very little, and I played brilliantly at the start of the season, but for the majority, those won't be who we'll be competing against at the end of the season, I don't think.
Agree. And in December as well, there's a midweek game week in December, which always catches everyone out. I can't remember the exact date. It's
on the
14th of December.
There's one in November and December, I'm sure.
Okay. So it's maybe.
I think.
So
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I think
you might be right.
I know there's one in December. It's normally around. I think it's like the 13th and 14th. So there'll be games on the 10th, 11th. Right.
It's the 15th, 16th.
Yeah. So it'll be like the 11th and 12th, 13th, and then the 15th and 16th, and then the 19th. 19th, 20th, 21st. Boxing Day, all the games on the 28th and 29th, New Year's Day, and then there's FA Cup weekend in there. So over that period there's going to be probably in that 15 or 16 day period, I would guess you're probably going to need about 9 or 10 or even 11 different captains. That's the time to to use some transfers in terms of making sure that you're hopping on captains. And this is my point earlier. In terms of, hopping on Werner now, taking out Pulisic. I mean, you're taking out players who are playing for good teams, who are doing well, and if you jump on Werner, you're swapping out someone who scored a goal in the previous game. Your transfers will be so much more effective later on. So please. You've got
those. Sorry, you've got those Man United and Man City games to be rearranged as well. So
really good
point. So when their game comes up, if they play on a Sunday of the game week before, or even the game week before that, you're getting almost 3-for-1s, 4-for-1 situation as well for teams that, particularly Man United, who play the same spine of the team in most games. So
Liam has just reminded me he missed the Watford game 8-0. That was the one, and Bernardo Silva scored a hat-trick. And just a quick question off Pompey Lad 96 Pup. What did you win, Paul, when you came fourth?
So I was supposed to win a games console. Like, it was 25k for the winner, 5k for second, and 1k for third. So, and then a games console for fourth. But when I contacted Sky, and anybody that's had to contact Sky for any prizes in the past, I'll probably have this problem before. Is that, remember when Fenners and Merce used to do that fantasy football Friday night show? So they published a league that I joined, and the majority of players from the official game were in that, but I ended up finishing second. So 2 of the top 3 didn't qualify for it. So I got 2,000 for finishing second in that league, and there was no entry fee for it.
Wow, nice.
So, but Sky said because I claimed that $2,000, I wasn't allowed the games console.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'd rather $2,000.
Yeah, so officially it would have been 0. Yeah. It would have been nothing from the official game.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Paul. And final question we've had off KG. I already own Kane, but thoughts on doubling up and getting Son for the next 3 game weeks? It would mean selling Calvert-Lewin, who is going to be my captain next Sunday. He would then have Patricio as his captain. So I know my thoughts on that. Dan, what do you think about getting in Son for Calvert-Lewin next week?
So hang on. So he wants to have Calvert-Lewin for the Southampton game and then bring Son in the next day?
Bring in Son for Calvert-Lewin.
They play on different days.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Tottenham play after Everton, so he could wait till Everton Southampton, and then he could do it. Yeah, because they would get then, like, there is a game swing there. But then, so what on the first? Patricio? Hang on, let me see where Wolves are. Oh no, he's talking about that weekend. Just depends where it leads him on the first. Oh no, he'll have Kane or Son. Yeah, you could do it, but why don't you just pick him from the off? You've had Calvert-Lewin for Liverpool. You could have had Son v West. Well, yeah, you can still do it. Have Calvert-Lewin v Southampton, then switch him to Kane, but to Son. But you picked him at the start. You must have had a little plan. So, like we sort of said, you got to, I think, sometimes go with a plan. But if you feel it, then do it. But that is hard to say.
And Paul, any final thoughts on that?
I agree with Dan. I personally wouldn't waste a transfer on it. You're not gaining a captain, because I assume you're going to captain Kane out of that anyway. And then the following week, Everton are away to Newcastle. Spurs are at home at Brighton, but yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, so let's have a look ahead to Game Week 7. So on screen now, we've got the fixtures for Game Week 7. On the Friday night, we've got Aston Villa versus Leeds. So on the Saturday, then we've got West Ham against Man City, the early kickoffs. We get to see the lineups for that one. We've got Fulham against Palace at 3 o'clock, Man United, Chelsea at 5:30, and Liverpool and Sheffield United at 8 o'clock. Paul, come to you first. Captains for Friday and Saturday, and even captains, if you even haven't got them, who do you think would be the best captain?
Friday's difficult. I've got Grealish, and I picked Grealish based on ownership and not because I wanted him in my team. I'll probably still captain him.
Okay, ahead of Dallas, you've got as well, haven't you? I think
Dallas, and I've got Ayling as well. Yeah, okay. So I'll get my double. If Leeds kept a clean sheet, I'll get my double clean sheet points anyway, even if Grealish blanks. So probably Grealish, or the way Martinez is playing, I should probably captain him. I'll go Grealish based on ownership. Then on Saturday, Salah. Then on Sunday, Sunday's going to be a divisive thing between players that have went for an Everton player and those that have went the Jimenez route. Like myself, I'm going to captain Jimenez at home in Newcastle, but I could easily see Calvert-Lewin or Rodriguez outscoring them. And then on Monday it'll be Kane.
Okay, and in terms of who you think the best captain options are, then Paul?
Yeah, Grealish, Salah. Sunday's tough. I'll go Calvert-Lewin. I think Calvert-Lewin's the best option on Sunday.
Just confirm the fixtures on the Sunday. Southampton play Everton at 2 o'clock to get to see the Lions for that one. Wolves are home to Newcastle. and Arsenal Leicester in the evening.
Yeah, Southampton tend to be poorer at home than they are away. And Calvert-Lewin, it doesn't seem to faze him if he's playing at home. Like Rodriguez's stats are better at home than they are away. So I go Calvert-Lewin. He seems to be hitting like shots, tears.
Okay.
Newcastle's and Kane on Monday.
Yes, okay, and Kane on the Monday. Okay, Dan, what are your plans for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday?
So it's hard. So everyone says like, what's your team? What's your captain? Well, I've got 2 teams. And I spread, I'll do something different in each team, which everyone seems to do. You got 2 teams, you're picking someone different, then one of your captains is going to land. But for Friday, so Grealish, Martinez, or Dallas, 2 of those 3. What Paul said about Grealish, didn't really want him, but because of the ownership and because what he did against Liverpool. But yeah. 2 of those 3, I don't know which. Definitely Grealish in one, and then it'll either be Dallas or Martinez in the other. For Friday, for Saturday, I think it'll probably be Salah in both, to be honest, unless De Bruyne's starting. I would love to get Aguero in, but I've got Jimenez, and I need to keep Jimenez till the Palace game, because that's what I've got him for that captaincy. So I think it'll be Salah in both. Sunday, again, is hard. Jimenez, Calvert-Lewin could bring in the other team. And that was the 3, wasn't it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, Kane assume on Monday as well.
Kane and then Son on Monday in the both teams. It's hard to choose between the teams, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I want this. As we get later on in the season, I'll just talk about a team, but they're both sort of similar points, both doing all right. It's like if you take out 2 girls, you're talking to 2 girls. You can't quite choose which one you're gonna, make your girlfriend. So
I've never had that problem, mate.
So do you know what I mean? I'm messaging them both, and then in a month's time, we'll, one will make way, and we'll go with the other one. So that's what I'm at with teams. But they're the options. That'll be, a different thing in each team.
So Dan's thing is dip your wick for a while in both, and then. Choose the best one after that.
You said that. I didn't say that.
And just to confirm, so Aston Villa Leeds, I've got Grealish in my team. I've also got Dallas and Ayling. And I got Martinez. I honestly don't know. I think they're all much of a muchness. I do think it's going to be interesting to watch Leeds and Wolves tomorrow, because Leeds have been quite open at the back. If Leeds put in, quite a stern performance at the back, it may mean I may be more tempted to go a Leeds defender over over Grealish, or maybe
Cooper's injured, which was what I can do is maybe moving off, not going Dallas.
Good shout. On the Saturday then, it's going to be interesting, because if De Bruyne is back, because we get to see, it's going to be interesting if there'll be some last minute panic moves there. Probably go Salah, though I do think that Bruno against Chelsea is actually a very good shout, because Chelsea just can't defend. They can't defend. So I do think Bruno against Chelsea, he's normally, he's good for bonuses. I would guess he's still on penalties. He's an incredibly confident person. He's not going to, back away from taking a penalty. They're at home. They off the back of a really good performance yesterday, so I do think that Bruno is potentially a good shout on that Saturday then. And on the Sunday, like I say, with Richarlison out, I do wonder whether Everton will have that same kind of zip about them moving forward, because James on the right hand side is not the fastest either. It's Richarlison in that team along with Calvert-Lewin that provides all that pace. So if Richarlison's out, I do think it may impact their output. I'll be going Jimenez home to Newcastle. I think Newcastle now have shipped, I want to say 7. They obviously shipped 4 yesterday. I can't remember what they did in the previous game week. I think they conceded 3. But
Arlo made 8 saves yesterday as well.
Might be making that up. Right, okay. Yes, and obviously Darlow's a really good option, because he makes a lot of saves, and the fact he makes a lot of saves means that they concede a lot of shots. So hopefully for Jimenez options there. Brighton do have West Brom on the Monday evening, and man of the match magnet Mopai could potentially be an option for those who got in there. That was a bit of a dodgy one earlier, or Burnley and Spurs, but obviously the form that Spurs are in, you would imagine that Bale would start the next game as well, Kane or Son. I personally go for Kane. Son is a fantastic option, but Kane scored more than him today, and he's got pens in his locker as well. I just think that Kane's the lock in there.
Kane got a hat-trick there a couple of seasons ago, even when Burnley were there.
They were good. They did. You're right. I remember that. So yeah, that's kind of things there. I don't see any transfer requirements there. I don't think. If anyone does need to make a transfer, then you haven't planned properly in the second week.
I've got the money to do Grealish to De Bruyne.
Oh, right, okay. Well, there you go.
So it's Jimenez the week after or Grealish next week.
Okay, so if you've got VVD, you can obviously have a look, or if you're itching to make a transfer, not sure away to West Ham is the best thing, especially when you're likely to be captaining Salah anyway, in all honesty. But to you, mate, you know better than me. Okay, so we will now look at our Sky podcast team. So the team scored 89 today, which is pretty decent. So we got Patricio in goals, we got Robertson, Ayling and Dallas at the back, Antonio, Grealish, Rodriguez. I did make the move. I took out De Bruyne for Bruno. Obviously we had the news about De Bruyne. I didn't want to do anything kind of radical changing the team, but I thought a move to Bruno is pretty sensible. We can always just move him back when De Bruyne is back, but that's obviously up for everyone else to...
Oh, mate.
What?
Sorry, interrupts. Grealish got man of the match.
You're joking. Did he really?
Yeah.
There we are.
That's ideal.
Blimey, okay. So we've got Grealish, so actually we're on... we'll be on 92 and 6 for the Kane captaincy. 98 and more pies man of the match. 101 for the podcast team. We've broken 100 and we still have 3 to play tomorrow. So we captained Salah yesterday. We captained Kane today, and we will be captaining, I believe it's Dallas tomorrow. So I did put the poll on Twitter, and Dallas has come out as the best captain option C for tomorrow. So that's just a quick look at that team. We were on around the 25k rank. Potentially might get a small rise, obviously, because everyone is making loads of transfers. We tend to stay a bit static at this point on time. I don't think we need to think about any transfers there yet. I'll put the captaincy polls on Twitter this week, but thank you as usual everyone for your input into this team. It's got off to a pretty good start. We did use one transfer which I forgot about pre-overhaul. We took out Aubameyang for KDB, if you remember, on that game week 1, I think, or game week 2, whatever it was. But other than that, it's on 39 transfers and looking very, very healthy. So good stuff there. We'll just have a quick look at the top of the Hub £500 League. So in 10th place, Sean Thorpe of Footstock fame, Johnny Goodall in 9th, Benjamin Lee in 8th, Daniel Bright in 7th, Oliver Colgan in 6th, Katie O'Neill in 5th, down from 1st. Katie probably had a bit of a stinker. Sorry, this is updated for the points just after yesterday. This doesn't include today's points. 4th is Michelle Burnett. 3 is Kerry Ventis. 2nd is John McEwen. And 1st is Christopher Forbes on 461 points. Very well done. Apologies for stalling through that. I have to squint. I haven't got it very big on my screen, so I do have to squint there. And everyone's very happy on the chat around Grealish being man of the match there as well. So that's the top of the Hub £500 League. Well done to Christopher Forbes, who's currently leading the way, 461 points. But obviously this doesn't include today's points. And finally, the Four Nations League. In 8th place is our Sky podcast team representing Wales. That's currently in 8th place, but obviously had a good day today, 101 points, pretty good. Liam Dorrian of Ireland is in 7th place. He is also in 6th place as well. Dan Cox, his Supersonic team, is in 5th. Paul McAnulty's Housewives Fave is in 4th. Dan Cox, Fancy Football Hub's team, is in 3rd. Paul McAnulty, House Husband's Fave, is in 2nd, but at just 1 point above is Fergie time. Andrew Ferguson representing the country of Wales. We are currently taking home the Four Nations Cup. Have you got the cup there, Dan?
That's on a shelf, mate. I can't reach it.
You lazy swine. I'm sure you could have led it if it was England winning, but maybe give it a wave next week.
Hang on.
He's going to get it. Martin Beasley just happens. What happens if the podcast team wins overall?
Here we go, mate.
Who gets the cash? I promise you, Martin, everyone on this stream is welcome out, and I will get everyone half of Foster's and a packet of crisps. No problem whatsoever.
I've got some red ribbon for England to go on it when I have it.
Red's Wales, mate. Sorry,
Yeah,
two for one.
That's an
money
omen.
saving.
That is an omen. Okay, so finally then we are going to move on to Dan's rant. So Dan, you were furious right at the start of this podcast. What has upset you this week?
Do you know what's annoyed me, right? The Bruno man of the match yesterday, right? Which he got given man of the match. Okay, fair enough. Look then this morning. Oh no, reporter's changed his mind as Maguire again. Like, whatever really. I don't, whatever. But can't you pick a man of the match and stick to it? It's been changed this morning. Like, when you submit it, just go with it. If you think Bruno, then you think, do you know what? Just leave it because you're affecting our points. So that annoyed me, right?
And he didn't have the highest ranking, did he? In terms
there
of
was he had a 7. There was 3 players on an 8 or something like that. I did screenshot it, but so stop changing your mind, right? So that pissed me off. It's just like just stick with it. Like I wouldn't want to go for a meal with this guy because it'd take forever. Like what? I'm going to have the chicken. Oh no, I'm going to. Just bloody pick something to stick to it. Then I looked into it a bit more. When Salah changed to Mane the next day. Can you remember that this season? Yep. And it was like, oh, hang on, and everyone, when Salah got, you're like, Salah? Mane was class, wasn't he? And then it's like, oh, he's changed it. Oh, but no, you don't get the points. The guy's changed his mind. It's the same guy. It's the same reporter who's done it again. I'm like, fuck, he's the one who's now just give Grealish man of the match. He'll probably see on Twitter everyone saying, oh, it should be Barkley or Martinez. He'll probably change it tomorrow. Like, that's just, do you know what I mean? I feel like giving him a tweet or something. I do follow him. He does follow me back. I would just say, can you just sort it out? So that is pissing me off a bit. Like, pick the right man in the match and stick to it. It's not that hard, is it?
If he follows you, he must follow the cat because the cat's got more followers than you.
No, cat ain't on Twitter. But so that annoyed me. Yeah, just pick a man of the match and stick to it. The VAR is ridiculous. That Mane goal, when Mane was offside and he's on, like, that's ridiculous as well, isn't it? How then Pickford's not getting sent off for Kroc and Van Dijk? Do you know what I mean? That's I just can't get why they're not looking at these things. Bizarre. It does my head in.
Bizarre.
That's just annoying. And what else annoyed me? We got 3,000 views on the YouTube last week. So thanks everyone. Like we really appreciate you tuning in and watching and sending us in questions. I was ill last week. Serious case of man flu. One person said was all right. Do you know what I mean? 3,000. So yeah, thanks. But I'm all right now, thanks. But yeah, and that was pretty much it, really, mate.
I've only got one rant. It's not a rant as such. It was just a small incident that happened to me this morning. So I went to my kids' football game this morning, and I decided to help out with the goals. So we carried the goals out of the garage thing, and we stuck them on the pitch. And as I was walking off, feeling all kind of masculine and macho, I've done my bit for the team and stuff. Where the full size goals have been removed because of COVID, at the moment in Wales, a lot of sports, and everything is banned. They hadn't filled in the hole where the goalpost went, and I put my foot in it and I rolled my ankle, and my ankle is the size of a balloon. Worst thing though is as I fell, I could only fall like a certain way to avoid serious injury. So I actually did like a roly-poly, absolutely covered in mud. About 13 kids laughing their heads off, parents laughing their heads off as I'm trying my best not to weep and not to cry and be a bit like it was absolute agony. So I've got the ankle the size of a balloon. So that was a bit annoying this morning. It was not a rant, just a bit of
that sounds like if there's blame, there's a claim to me.
Well, there was, but on the way out it says you shouldn't be entering these fields due to COVID-19 restrictions. So yeah. I'm not sure I'm going to get away with that anyway. But
as long as no one's filmed it and put it on YouTube or anything, you'll be all right.
Zvonimir asks, Daniel, are you okay? How are you feeling?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. I'm good. Cheers. All right, now got over a serious case of man flu.
You would have preferred it last week. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, all as usual, for supporting and interacting with us on this live stream. One favour, could everyone please retweet the podcast when we tweet it out later tomorrow morning? Could just see as well, we've only got 36 likes. We've got 107 people watching live, only 36 likes. Do the maths, guys. Come on, let's get up to 100 likes, please. That would be really, really helpful to us. Thank you very much. Dan, where can people find you?
Twitter, Dan Cox 82, and my article on the Hub every Friday.
Magic. Paul, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Paul McAnulty 1, MCANULTY. One thing I was going to mention, obviously we're living in quite shit times just now with COVID and lockdown and stuff like that. And fantasy football used to get, if I had a bad weekend or a bad week on fantasy football, it used to really, really get me down. If anyone's follows me or is listening and wants a chat, had a bad game week, or it doesn't need to be fantasy football or anything related, just get in touch and we can chat about your team, my team, fantasy football, anything, just to take your mind off it or anything.
Lovely gesture from you, Paul. Well done, mate. Good stuff. And I think obviously the same goes for myself and Dan as well. My Twitter handle is @Fergie222. It seems like we've done a really short one this time. It's actually been over an hour, but it's because we've been doing such long ones for like pre-season for the overhaul. It feels like we've rattled through, but we still done over an hour. But anyway, so this podcast and video will be on the Fantasy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel, and also available in in all major podcast platforms. If you liked what you watched, please click the like button and remember to subscribe in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast version and leave some comments. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok are at FFH_HQ. Our podcast Twitter handle is at FFH_Sky, so please follow and feel free to ask any questions. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you'll find everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, and much, much more, all of which is on our new free app, which you can find from wherever you get your apps, searching for Fantasy Football Hub. Good luck to all our watchers and listeners this week. We will be back next Sunday at 9 o'clock. Looking forward to Game Week 8. We will see you then. Good night all.